Every day, millions of people get into their cars without thinking twice about it. They drive to work, to school, to the store. Most roads are boring, predictable, safe. But there is one road where a single mistake can send a vehicle hundreds of meters into the abyss. No guardrails, no room for error, no second chances. And for decades, simply driving on it was considered one of the most dangerous journeys on Earth. This is the story of the Yungas Road in Bolivia, better known by another name, the Death Road. And once you see it, you'll understand exactly how it earned that reputation. At first glance, it almost doesn't look real. The road clings to the side of a mountain like a thin scar carved into the rock itself. On one side, a vertical cliff rises into the clouds. On the other, a drop so steep that looking down can make your stomach turn. Fog drifts across the road without warning. Rain transforms dirt into mud. Loose rocks fall from above, and in many sections, two vehicles can barely pass each other safely. What makes it even more terrifying is how ordinary it appears in photographs. Pictures rarely capture the scale, the exposure, the feeling of vulnerability. Because standing there in person is completely different. You suddenly realize there is almost nothing separating you from a deadly fall, and that changes everything. The Yungas Road connects La Paz, one of the highest capital cities in the world, with the Yungas region below. The route cuts through the Andes Mountains and descends thousands of meters through dramatically changing environments. Within a few hours, travelers move from cold mountain conditions into lush, subtropical forests. It's beautiful, almost unbelievably beautiful. And that's part of the problem. Nature often hides danger behind breathtaking scenery. The road became infamous during the 20th century. For years, buses, trucks, cars, and local drivers were forced to use it regularly. At certain points, visibility could disappear completely due to fog. Heavy rain would trigger landslides. Waterfalls flowed directly across the road. Drivers often found themselves navigating conditions that would make most modern highways shut down immediately, and yet people kept driving because they had no alternative. That's something many people forget when discussing dangerous places. Most of the time, the people facing these risks aren't thrill seekers. They're simply trying to live their lives, going to work, transporting goods, visiting family, getting home. It's easy to romanticize danger when watching from a screen. It's very different when your livelihood depends on surviving it. For decades, accidents were tragically common. Vehicles occasionally slipped off the edge. Entire buses disappeared into the valleys below. Thousands of people are believed to have died on the road over the years. And while exact figures vary, its reputation became legendary. Locals didn't need statistics. They knew the danger firsthand. Every journey carried uncertainty. Every trip demanded concentration. Every turn had consequences. What fascinates me most isn't the danger itself. It's how quickly humans adapt to danger when they have no other choice. Most people imagine they would never drive on a road like this. But if your family lived there, if your job depended on it, if there were no safer routes available, you might find yourself doing exactly the same thing. Humans have an incredible ability to normalize risk. Sometimes that's a strength, sometimes it's terrifying. The road also reveals something uncomfortable about infrastructure around the world. People living in wealthy countries often assume safe roads are normal, almost guaranteed. But for millions of people, basic transportation can still involve risks that would be considered unacceptable elsewhere. Geography doesn't distribute challenges equally. Some communities are blessed with easy terrain. Others spend generations battling mountains, deserts, rivers, or jungles simply to stay connected. The Death Road became a symbol of that reality. Not because it was unique, but because it exposed a problem that exists in many remote parts of the world. Nature doesn't care about human convenience. And building infrastructure in extreme environments is incredibly difficult. Eventually, Bolivia built a safer alternative route. A modern highway bypassed much of the dangerous terrain. Traffic on the death road dropped dramatically. Accidents decreased. Lives were saved. For most people, that should have been the end of the story. But strangely enough, it wasn't. Today, the road attracts a completely different type of visitor. Tourists, adventure seekers, cyclists, people who voluntarily travel across the world to experience a road that locals spent decades trying to survive. And if I'm being fair, I understand the appeal. There's something deeply human about confronting fear, about standing near danger and feeling fully alive. But there's also a strange irony in it. For local communities, the death road represented necessity. For visitors, it became entertainment. The same place can mean completely different things depending on who you are. And that contrast says a lot about how humans perceive risk. The road itself remains spectacular. Cloud forests cover the mountainsides. Waterfalls pour down cliffs. The scenery feels almost cinematic, yet beneath that beauty lies a reminder of how unforgiving nature can be. One storm, one landslide, one mechanical failure, and the environment quickly takes control again. Modern civilization often creates the impression that humans have mastered the world. We build skyscrapers, tunnel through mountains, cross oceans in hours, navigate with satellites. But places like the death road tell a different story. They remind us that control is often temporary, conditional, fragile. Nature allows us to move through these landscapes, not the other way around. And whenever we forget that, the consequences can be severe. Perhaps that's why the road continues capturing people's imagination, not because it's dangerous, but because it challenges something modern society rarely questions: the belief that safety is guaranteed, that every destination is accessible, that technology can solve every problem. The death road quietly reminds us that some environments still operate by older rules written by gravity, weather, stone, and time. As evening settles over the Andes, mist begins rolling across the mountains once again. The cliffs disappear into clouds. The road narrows into the distance, and somewhere between the sky above and the valley below lies one of the most dangerous roads humanity ever dared to build. A road that turned an ordinary journey into a test of survival, and a reminder that even in the modern world, some paths are far more dangerous than they appear.